everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thrift Store Book Review. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the book Son of a Witch, the second book in the Wicked Years series, which is set in the Oz universe. Though the original set of Oz stories was written by L. Frank Baum, this new series was written by another author, Gregory Maguire. Gregory Maguire is an adult and children's novelist and has written over 14 popular books. The works he is best known for is his Wicked Years series, a series that for right now spans 6 books starting with Wicked and ending, as far as I know, at the book Tales Told in Oz. Mr. Maguire has also written for theater and film. It's because of him that we have the musical Wicked, and other works such as the play The Seven Stage a Comeback and the 2002 made-for-TV movie Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister. Needless to say, Mr. Maguire has had a lot of experience under his belt in writing, and to me at least, it appears that he excels in putting a spin on already known works, or revamping them in a way that gives them a fresh take, or simply expands the world for us, giving us more of what we already enjoy. A perfect example of this is in fact the Wicked Years series, which takes an already known place created by a different author and meticulously expands on the world, turning what was once a collection of children's books into a set of adult books that bears its own adult shape and sound. It's like if a book could grow up. We have the original books written by Baum, which were fantastic for children, and now we have the books written by Maguire, which are fantastic for adults. Now, the book I've recently read, as I mentioned earlier, is the second in the series, and I believe a long while back I might have read the first one, but I'm not going to go looking for it on my bookshelf. Even if I hadn't read the book, Son of a Witch still stands up on its own. As you know what happened to the Wicked Witch, if you know what happened to the Wicked Witch by reading the original book, watching the movie, overhearing about it via some weird pop culture reference, or have seen the musical, you'll basically be caught up on what's going on when you get into Son of a Witch. Now, of course, the first thing I do want to talk about is the cover. It's really plain, but also really effective. You see exactly what you're meant to see. Is this boy the son of a witch? And maybe you really can't see it from here, but his eyes are a little green. So we kind of have that, and you have his hair, which is not the witch's hat, but it's still dark, and it might represent that. We also have, I can just take a second to turn it, something really cool, like the color of it is red on the sides, which I rarely see people do that kind of thing. But we have this red and green aesthetic going on here, which I really enjoy. It's simple, cut to the point, no confusion. It's the book Son of a Witch. Now, the book itself follows a boy named Lear, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's just how I'm pronouncing it because, that's how I decided it sounded. You could call it Liar, but that didn't sound right to me. Anyway, it follows Lear, leaving the castle of the Wicked Witch after she's died. He's with Dorothy and the gang, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, and he's leading them to the Emerald City. Now, the book doesn't quite start with this journey. It actually starts with Lear being found near dead after he's fallen from the sky and taken in to be healed by a convent of monks, who I suppose would represent nuns from our world in a nunnery. I feel like they mixed nuns and monks, so we got monks. Anyway, after this, the book backs up and starts to explain how he came to fall out of the sky and the journey that got him there. In fact, most of the book is Lear journeying from place to place, learning about the world and more about himself, and always trying to do 2 things. Find a girl named Nor, who may or may not be his half-sister, and be in conflict with himself that he doesn't know who his parents are. Up until the end, the book never makes it clear if he's the Wicked Witch's son or not, and when they do finally reveal it, I must say, it's pretty satisfying. Now, the book can really be summed up as a coming-of-age book or a coming-into-your-own type of book. We go from seeing Lear as maybe the son of the Wicked Witch, to a street orphan, to someone who's joined the army in the Emerald City, to a war criminal, to a hero who's ridding the world of cruel dragons that slice people's faces off, a man saving an elephant caught in a human's body, to, in the end, becoming a father. This book is one wild ride, let me tell you. Now, all through the book, we meet new characters who help further Lear's journey, such as Commander Cherrystone, Shell, Candle, Nanny, Trissom, and others. These are the people that have, in some way or another, helped Lear shape Lear's life as he transitions from one role to another in the book. Cherrystone is more or less the soldier time in his life. Trissom is his dragon extermination time. Candle is when he's starting to heal from his injuries, etc. Some of them shine more than others, but they all seem to me like stepping stones more than characters all their own. Maybe it's because Lear is so complex that everyone else looks so one-note in comparison. But that's just a minor, insignificant gripe of mine. I understand that we can't dive into everyone's history, but most of the secondary characters seem so flat. Candle is about the only character that has some weight behind her. It feels like everyone else seems to exist just to push the story along, because if they weren't as one-note as they were, nothing big would happen. For example, if we didn't have Trissom hating the fact that he helped train the evil dragons, we wouldn't have had the way to get into the Basilica or give Lear the information he would need to effectively kill the dragons. We don't know Trissom well enough to sit back and say, yeah, he totally felt guilty about this. He totally would have helped Lear even though he hasn't seen him in a long time and wanted to kill him 5 minutes earlier. Now you might think that this should be a big gripe, but really, I don't even know if it counts as one in the long run. Because Son of a Witch is just an incredible book that makes you have to stop and think about everything. When I got to these characters, it really got to the point where I started thinking that maybe how one-note these characters were written was intentional, and I just didn't understand it, which is why I called it a minor, insignificant gripe. Truly, this might not even be a valid gripe, and that's on me, because, full disclosure, there was a lot I didn't understand in this book. And you might say, but Halfway Jack, you said at the start that this book could stand on its own. And it does. The flow of the book is fantastic. You don't need to read the previous books for you to be in the loop. The problem isn't the words on the page. It's what's not there. It's the symbolism of the book that I tried and failed to wrap my head around. Reading the book, it feels like I'm reading an allegory, like Pilgrim's Progress. The book is drenched and dripping with symbolism and meaning. So much so, it feels like every paragraph has a deeper meaning. And to be honest, the symbolism, a lot of it went over my head. I know what I'm reading, and I know there's a deeper meaning to it. I just can't wrap my head around what the deeper meaning is. This book is the epitome of 5D chess. And that's not to say I didn't get any of it. I thought I understood some things, though when I was trying to piece together what I thought everything represented, and I was in the end left with a mess. It felt like every few chapters I was like, oh, this book is trying to do a commentary on Vietnam and PTSD. Or no, now it's trying to do a commentary on religion. Or no, the Wicked Witch's brother's name is Shell and he's basically the Pope Emperor of the Emerald City. So what this book is trying to say is that we're some kind of corrupted vessel trying to hold in godhood. Or maybe this book is trying to say that we're trying to be someone you aren't. You're going to be left an empty shell. Or maybe, I don't know. This book will have your mind doing loops trying to figure out what it's trying to say. If you're sitting down after every paragraph and trying to overanalyze every word, then yes, this book will be for you. And you may think I'm being hyperbolic with what I've just said, but I'm really not. This is not a book where you kick back and just read it. You've really got to be reading and thinking and dissecting every word at the same time. Now please don't think I'm trying to turn you away from this book. It's the very opposite. I think it's worth the reading and worth the effort to think about it. Every so often we need a book that makes us stop and think. Sometimes it's worthwhile to be made to pause, even when you don't want to, because you want to fully appreciate what you've read, but you can't fully appreciate what you've read until you understand it. I wouldn't say we need a book like this all the time, or even often, but it's good every once in a while to read a book that will have you staring off into space as you try to rip the real meaning of what you just read from between the lines. If I could sum up exactly what kind of book this is the book that your, now what do you think that means, English teacher was prepping you for. Now with that all the way out of the way, here's 2 more things I'd like to talk about, and they're just some stuff I didn't like about the book. The first will always be the trend of trying to humanize and bring sympathy to old villains. And you might think this doesn't apply since the witch is dead, but it does. Because Lear is part of her legacy, and people want him to be like her. thinking he can help them like she would have done. Look, writers, do what you want. I'm all for every single type of literary freedom. It just irks me when we do a twist on an already established story, and the twist is that the evil person wasn't as bad as you thought, or they were really good and the old stories are just propaganda because you believe good and evil are subjective. Please bear in mind that I don't mind a story where moral relativity is a thing. It's where something long ago was clearly defined as evil, and then you go and say, no, it wasn't. It's the people who we thought were good all along who are really evil. You can't see me eye rolling, but please picture me eye rolling. The last gripe I have with this is the animals with a capital A. And the capital A is in the book to show that they're sentient. They can talk, figure, know what right and wrong is, etc. Now, in the book, it really tries to give the impression that even without telling you that eating talking animals with a capital A is kind of messed up, because of course they can talk and have minds and knowledge, they can understand like a person can understand. So the book seems to indicate that eating animals with a capital A is wrong because of this. But I see it as a complete opposite. How is it wrong to eat a talking capital A animal if I'm sure the talking animals with a capital A would eat us? The book never once comes close to addressing this. I would consider this fair game. If a talking, sentient, reasoning animal with a capital A thinks it's okay to eat me, like Glinda's talking tiger, then it's okay for me to eat a talking animal with a capital A. Like, I'm sorry you weren't born with thumbs and the ability to make guns, Mr. Phoenix, but I was, and you can fathom and comprehend how that makes me better than you. You can actually understand my superiority, and as such, you are able to comprehend that I'm better than you and can do what I want. I have zero sympathy for talking animals in Oz. It takes 1 second to think about why they shouldn't be sympathized for. No, the playing field isn't equal, but it's not equal in the natural world either. Put a prey with a clear disability in front of a hungry predator, and they're gone. Regardless of what I think, I'm sure some people would disagree, and if you do, that's fine. We're all entitled to our opinions, and that's all that I give, my opinions. And despite my dislikes, all in all, I love this book, and I would recommend it to anyone really willing to take a long time to sit down and appreciate every sentence this masterpiece has. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I'm Halfway Jack, and as always, I'll see you when I see you.